It was supposed to be a quick weekend trip. Just me, Sarah, and Ethan. We'd been friends since college, the kind of trio that didn't need an occasion to spend time together. The plan was simple. Drive up to a small mountain town, spend the weekend exploring, and drive back Sunday night. But plans have a way of changing, especially when nature has its own agenda. That afternoon, the clouds were already forming as we left the cafe where we had stopped for coffee. Ethan was driving, Sarah was in the passenger seat, and I sat in the back, scrolling through the playlist. The first drops of rain started just as we hit the open stretch of highway. We weren't worried. None of us had checked the weather. And maybe that was our first mistake. About an hour in, the rain turned heavier, beating against the windshield so hard that the wipers struggled to keep up. The air was thick, the road empty, and I felt that strange heaviness in my chest that comes with an approaching storm. That's when the engine made a sputtering noise. "Oh," Ethan muttered, easing his foot off the gas. The car jerked once, twice, and then rolled to a slow stop on the shoulder of the road. He tried turning the key, but the only response was a stubborn click. The three of us exchanged looks. Sarah checked her phone. No service. I tried mine. Nothing. We were in the middle of nowhere. The rain was now coming down so hard, it blurred the world outside. That was when Sarah spotted the faint, distant glow of a neon sign through the rain. We grabbed our jackets, stepped out into the downpour, and started walking. The wind whipped against us, soaking us through in minutes. When we finally reached the source of the glow, we saw it. A small roadside motel, the kind you see in old movies. A weathered sign read Blue Haven Motel, with the word vacancy flickering faintly. Inside, the lobby smelled faintly of coffee and old wood. A kindly older man behind the counter greeted us with a smile. "Looks like you got caught in the storm," he said. We nodded, shivering slightly. He checked us into the only available room, a double-bedded unit with a small table in the corner. When we got to the room, I looked at the two beds and laughed. "Only if you take turns," I said jokingly, pointing to the beds. It was our way of diffusing the tension. Humor had always been our survival tool. The room was cozy but plain. Cream walls, a dresser, a small TV. We kicked off our wet shoes and changed into the driest clothes we had. Sarah had brought a bag of snacks, and Ethan had an old battery lantern in his backpack, just in case. It turned out to be more useful than we realized, because an hour later, the power went out. The three of us sat cross-legged on the carpet, illuminated by the lantern's warm glow. The storm outside roared, the wind howling through the trees like a distant warning. At first, we were quiet, just listening. Then Sarah began telling a story from college days about the time we got lost trying to find a hiking trail and ended up in someone's backyard. We took turns after that, sharing memories, some funny, some bittersweet. The rain against the window became a kind of soundtrack, steady and rhythmic. At one point, the wind rattled the glass so hard that I instinctively grabbed Sarah's hand. She squeezed back without saying a word. When lightning flashed across the room, Ethan got up and peeked out the curtain. "Tree came down across the road," he said. "Guess we're not going anywhere tonight." I felt a flicker of unease, but there was something oddly comforting about knowing it was just the three of us in that room, waiting out the storm together. We eventually grew tired, taking turns lying on the beds while the others stayed awake talking. Ethan told us about his dream of moving to the coast. Sarah confessed she'd been thinking about changing careers. I realized how little we sometimes know about the people closest to us until moments like these force the conversations. By morning, the storm had passed. The sky was a clear, piercing blue, and the air smelled fresh, almost sweet. We packed up, thanked the motel clerk, and started the long walk back to the car. A tow truck was already there, called in by a passing driver who'd spotted our vehicle. That night didn't change the world, but it changed something in us. It reminded me how small we are against nature, how quickly plans can fall apart, and how the people you're with in those moments can make all the difference. It's strange. Whenever I see rain now, I think of that little motel, the flickering sign, and the three of us taking turns telling our stories, keeping each other warm against the storm.